One thing we're known for is doing custom work. We do all kinds of custom work using technology and a lot of old school techniques. Recently we were commissioned to make a medallion for a customer, and with that particular piece we were using an old school technique of hand carving the wax. Typically nowadays we use the computer program and use a CAD program to create a computer generated model, and then we 3D print the wax and cast. But occasionally some customers still like us to do things by hand. They like the handmade look where it's just ever so slightly imperfect and just has that more hands-on touch. And the customers will sometimes want us to use their own gold versus using casting grain, which doesn't always make the best cast in comparison to using casting grain. But oftentimes it's with certain pieces, like in this case, it's a medallion. It's being worn on a necklace. It's not going to receive the same abuse you would with a ring. So using the customer's gold to create that piece, or using what we call scrap gold pieces to create that piece, it's not such a bad thing. It would be acceptable. So when we cast a piece, like if we are going to use scrap gold, we like to use like solid rings, solid pieces of gold, things that not necessarily much chain, things that don't have much solder in them. But using scrap gold or a customer's gold saves a lot of money on the, in the process of custom making this piece. So this particular piece, we hand carved the wax based off of a medallion the customer already had. It was kind of like a costume piece, not particularly valuable in material, but he liked the design and he liked what it said. It had a religious motif to it. And so he wanted to have that recreated. We hand carved the wax, and then we set it up in a flask, and then cast the piece, finished it out, and had a beautiful pendant when we were done. So the process is generally the customer will come in and give us an idea, a picture or something. We take a blank square or whatever, a piece of wax, and we use little tools, almost looks like dental tools, and little files, and we start, hand carving the wax and slowly it takes shape, and eventually we have the wax form of what the jewelry will look like. We then take that wax and we set it up on a sprue base, which is a rubber base. And then we take a metal sleeve, and put over that. We mix up something called investment compound. So the investment is almost like plaster. So we mix that up, we pour it inside this metal sleeve, and it solidifies, it hardens around the wax. After it hardens, we peel that rubber base off, put it in the oven, and usually we'll do like an 8-hour burnout. So over the course of 8 hours, that oven will heat up to 1,350 degrees Fahrenheit. And it will completely burn out the wax and leave an impression inside that plaster, inside that metal sleeve, an impression where the wax used to be. So when the burnout is complete, we take the sleeve and with the plaster, the investment compound, take it out of the oven, we place it in our casting machine. We use an induction casting machine that uses superheated water in a coil that melts the water, melts the gold inside of a crucible. So we take that sleeve out of the oven, put it in our centrifugal casting machine. Once we place it in there, we vacuum seal the chamber, shoot argon into the chamber. That just gives a better casting. There's less oxygen, less burning. Everything's just going to be cleaner inside this induction caster we have. The coil will come up around the crucible and melt the gold. It'll turn to liquid gold, a liquid state. As soon as it gets to the point where we can see the gold kind of dancing around inside, kind of swirling around, we hit inject. The machine slings, use centrifugal force. In other words, it slings that metal flask where the wax used to be, slings it around, and then it slings that gold, uses centrifugal force to sling that gold inside the form where the wax used to be. It'll slow down and cool, and once it cools, we'll take it and quench it. We'll let it sit for a little while, then we'll take it, we'll quench it inside a bucket of water or something, and it'll steam, it'll cool down that metal piece. We take out the metal piece, and there we have the raw casting. From there, it's just a matter of cutting that piece of gold or that piece of jewelry off the metal button, and then we start the finish process of sanding and filing and polishing, and eventually we have the finished product that we return back to the customer.